to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed, support causes that matter, change lives, change communities, change the world. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I had a guy that was...
Good morning. I'm sorry.
Good morning. Thank you, Lawrence, and welcome, listeners, on this last Wednesday before Christmas. We're on the verge of Christmas. It's very, very hard to believe. You are listening to the Kingston Community Radio Wednesday morning edition of the KCR Talk Radio Show. In the studio with me is Fred Costello. Good morning, sir.
Greg.
Supervisor, Town of Saugerties, and you're hearing our broadcast, seeing our broadcast for our listeners and viewers from our studios. We're live at 16 Lucas Avenue in Kingston. 331-9255 is our call-in number, and we would love to hear from you on this Wednesday morning. And just as a quick reminder, we did get some rain overnight. There are some pockets, from what I understand, of
A couple slippery areas.
freezing areas. I know some of the outlying areas, and Saugerties schools are on a 2-hour delay. The last I heard, Kingston is not. That may have changed from the last update I got about 15, 20 minutes ago. So just use a little extra caution. And even if it isn't slippery, when you get these rain-slick roadways, this was the longest duration of darkness.
Yeah, we're on the optimistic side now.
Yeah,
right?
going in from last evening through this morning, and soon we'll turn the corner and it'll start getting lighter a little bit earlier and staying lighter a little bit later. So slow down, give yourself a little bit more time, and always be conscientious of that this time of the year.
It means nothing because tomorrow it'll feel the darkness will feel the same as today, but there's I feel a sense of optimism about that. Yesterday was a long night.
Yeah, it was the longest. Yeah. If you go from
it's dark right now.
From the time that the sun set to the time that it rises this morning, it's the longest duration of darkness, and the longest duration between sunset and sunrise.
We're going to pick up a minute here and there.
Yeah, it's slow to begin with, but then it starts to accelerate a bit in mid-January, and by the end of January, it's a noticeable difference. Yeah.
So we don't want to rush things along, like you said.
No.
It's our last show before Christmas.
No, we do not want to rush things along. Certainly not. Time goes too fast as it is.
Yeah, unfortunate, but hopefully folks are getting ready, plan for the holidays. A little extra caution this morning, especially if you're in higher elevations. There have been some reports of some slippery road conditions, and just in your yard, be careful going out to your car.
You know, and there's always spots. It must be the composition, maybe the rock in the roadway. I mean, very, very similar to where unpaved, like dirt roads, item 4 roads, will freeze much quicker than paved roads. And that's simply because that frost is penetrated and it's right there at the surface. So when you have frost, obviously it's below freezing, and that'll ice over. Another spot all the time is Corryville Hill. It seems Corryville Hill ices over, all the time.
I think part of it is the way that was cut into the mountainside. There's a lot of shade.
There's a lot of shade, and I just think maybe the amount of rock that might be underneath it. And yet, and then other times there's areas, even the roadways in the complex, where they get full sun during the day.
Yep.
That retains some of the heat.
You beat me here.
Yeah. You're not very prompt.
Somebody checks.
Okay.
How you doing?
Fine. How are you?
I'm okay. We're
And
about to
our
welcome-
mayor of the village of Saugerties, William Murphy, just walked in.
Shocked to see the Porsche in the parking lot before I got here.
Before you got in.
Doesn't matter what time I leave. I always get here at 7:02.
It's weird how you hit things.
I actually get up at 5:45 today because my wife's phone rang. I thought it was my phone telling the school was delayed.
As we were just talking about. There's a couple slippery spots.
I'm looking at my phone. I'm going, and I see there's a fire call. I'm like, but that one that rang my phone was, I guess there was a fire call at 12:30 last night.
Oh, really? Hopefully nothing serious.
It says structure fire, but I drove by. I don't see any damage. It was 5 Market Street.
Okay. Well, this is the time of year where people are using electric heaters and...
It said oven left on. Okay. It's one of the businesses on
I was
Upper
going to
Market
say,
Street.
5 Market Street is right off of Main.
Yeah, it's got to be either the Reese building or across the street. I think.
Probably one of the apartments.
Well, it said in the restaurant. I think it said in the building. Yeah,
Oh.
maybe first floor. But I think odd's the west side or the east side. So I think it might have been the Reese building.
That would be apartment.
I'm thinking of Tommy Spears' address. So
No, Tommy's 160.
even numbers are on the west side, and odd numbers are on the east side.
That's what I said.
So he can't be
Oh,
160.
161 or 165 he is. Because my brother Timmy's 180.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to be.
Don't ask me why I know
Pretty
that.
in-depth knowledge of the street.
Well, you know what? I actually laid in bed when I saw this morning. I'm like, I said, all right, I grew up on the west side of Elm Street. That was even number. So more than likely, Market Street's the same thing. So it's got to be the east side. So it's got to be probably the Reese building or the house next to it. So I deciphered. Things you think about when you're just laying there. And you know, you got to get up in 20 more minutes. And like, why go back to sleep? You know.
Yeah.
Plus, my wife told me last night I needed to shave. So we got our picture today. So I had to shave for it.
All right, you see. Oh, yeah, we did. I forgot about that. I'm going to have to shave too then.
Oh, you're all right.
What's happening today?
Some picture we got to get taken. But we're
All the
getting it.
newspapers are doing their next year
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
So,
They didn't interview me.
I think that's coming now. So, Freeman did a quick interview.
I won't be doing that one. But
And I haven't heard it from the record at all.
Hudson Valley One's the one we're doing today.
What's the value on?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
we get our pictures taken and talk about next year. I don't think they're interviewing us today.
No, just pictures. Yeah.
I get a call later on.
Yep.
But hard to believe this year's almost over. I could,
We should do an interview together.
We could do it. We did do that one year.
One
and
year.
It was great.
I think it's better doing it together. Village and
What
town.
you ought to do, the two of you, do one of those the TV shows that Anastasia does.
Yeah, we did that once or
Oh, you
twice.
did?
Yeah, we've done that
Okay.
before. Yeah, way
I've
back.
done it a couple times with the chief.
Yeah, fun, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we could do that too, bro.
How about do something together? Because a lot of our plans interlock. You know.
We're trying to do stay on a similar path and do our things for our residents the same way. So hopefully that's a good idea. Let's try to set that up.
I'm full of them, Fred.
Yeah, I like it.
I was on the mayor call yesterday. I didn't see. So you didn't make it yesterday?
No, hopefully I was represented by someone.
By who?
Mr. Benjamin? No.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's only 9 of us on, and there's one just had a number, so unless he has a number, but I didn't hear anybody speak. No big deal. It was just going over our topics for next year.
We have so one of the things we do that call every year. Bill's talking about the Transportation Safety Council,
Yes.
and that council kind of helps us identify.
But see, that wasn't that meeting. That was the mayor meeting, but it was labeled Ulster County Transportation. But we talked. It was basically what used to be our mayor meetings. Yeah.
So but they still wanted to know our agendas for next year, as
Well-
far as what priority we wanted projects to get.
Yeah, they came up with five.
Five.
I think UCRA, ARPA money. Now McKenna was on too, but I was multitasking while I was on it. But it was, yeah, I think, I don't know.
All right.
It's early in the morning. It was a good call though.
Early.
And then I got a power surge in my office and got knocked off the call. So about 45 minutes into it, yeah, we had a power surge at our office. Like everything went out and came back on.
I don't remember any power interruptions for us. We were okay.
It might have just been our building. We're getting a new heating system put in the fire department, so it could have been those guys. It could have been something just our building
Something
owned.
off
Yeah.
For a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because we didn't. And honestly, I didn't get any report of any.
Yeah, it was probably just our
interruption
building.
yesterday either.
Probably just our building.
Good. So Monday night, I want to mention this before I forget. Greg's staff, the county came across 800 test kits for Saugerties. There was 2 allocations, one to you folks,
No, how many did you get?
600.
Oh, you got 600. I got 200. Okay.
We got 200. So we set up a drive-through pickup area, and Greg's staff, a couple of the younger guys, did an amazing job. They set up the cones, they set up the tables, and they planned the whole thing. And we dispersed all 600 tests, not quite 600, but just about 600, in about an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, no, it was under an hour.
Wow.
Under an hour?
Well, yeah, because, well,
We started a little bit before.
we started a little bit before 4, but it was when you told me to go up to Market Street, he sends me to tell people we're out of them. Okay.
I didn't want to be the
I know. I was wondering who's going to be the one to break that news.
And the line is down past Robinson Street.
Well,
so-
I text you, and you're like, I can't talk right now. The traffic's backed up.
I looked pretty pathetic. I was carrying cones, thinking I was going to close the road. And Greg's like,
You know,
"What are you going to do with those?" I was like,
when I first
"We're gonna
saw
run out."
he was down by, I'm at like the intersection of Mosier and Pavilion Street, more on the west side, going towards Mosier. So
Gotta be Larry's phone.
I don't know. So anyway, I look and I see this guy picking up cones. I see this guy stealing cones. And here he comes,
We had our 200, and what we did, we got them last Thursday, same as everybody else. And that was another topic, the COVID dashboard for the county. But so we put it on our web page, and just stop in and get them. And as of yesterday, we already dispersed about 150 to 200 people just stopping in and getting them.
Oh, so you still have some left?
Yeah, I don't know how many as of today.
Yeah.
They can call the office first if they want, 246-2321, to see if we still have them. But they're going. It was good. I mean, people were stopping in and getting them because the village, for the town, you had to do a central pickup. For the village, it's pretty much walking distance for most
Right,
people.
right.
And I just felt the 200. I mean, if I did a set giveaway, they'd be gone in 10 minutes. This way, people are stopping in. It's 1 per person, 2 per family, because each kid has 2. And I also set aside 20 of those for my employees. Like each of my employees had a set to take home.
We didn't set really anything aside because I believe we're going to get more.
Yeah, I mean, I set them aside, but if someone comes in and needs them, and our employee hasn't picked them up yet, the resident will get it.
Yeah.
That's what I told the girls. So, because the idea is to get them all out this week before the holiday. So,
We exhaust our supply really quick. I feel fairly confident as supplies become more plentiful, we're going to do the same thing we just did.
well, Biden's proposing $500 million being mailed out to every U.S. resident,
Yep.
which is not a bad idea. We used our first test on Sunday because my daughter Jill got a call from one of her roommates from college that she tested positive on Saturday. So of course Jill, in a nervous test taking, like she asked for everything, I had to rush home one of the kits and we took it and she was negative, thankfully. So we're sitting there watching. It's 10 minutes. She's like, "It's still blue, Dad. It's still blue." I'm like, "Jill, don't watch it. They drive me crazy." And
I haven't heard. What are they saying is the accuracy of those compared to getting the PCR or the rapid test at a medical facility?
I heard that the only thing with these, it's impossible to have a false negative on these.
It's impossible?
To have a false negative. You could have a false positive, but when you read the instructions, a false negative is not possible. Like, so if you're negative, you're negative. That's according to the instructions, but you could get a false positive. And if you get a positive, you should take a test again within 24 hours to confirm it. If you get a negative is pretty certain.
Okay.
That's based on, because I read through all the instructions, because with chill, you have to read through everything, and it's like blue line is negative, blue and pink is positive. If it's just pink, it's inconclusive, or you have to redo it. If it just comes up, no test should be just pink.
So if you do negative,
you're good.
You're good.
If you're positive, you should take another one in 24 hours. Could be a false positive, but not a false negative. That's how I read it.
So
and if I'm wrong, someone please correct me, but that's what I believe reading.
But there is still the incubation period. So, like, if you had it right this instant and you exposed me and I test myself as I leave the studio, I may be too soon.
Right.
Or I'll be negative, but doesn't mean that it won't incubate in my body.
Well, that's what, Jill took hers. The last she saw that girl was Thursday. She took test on Sunday, so we're pretty comfortable. One test was good. It wasn't the day after.
Mm-hmm.
So
The test kits are designed for successive tests, though, correct?
Correct, yes. And what I found yesterday, there's 8 different test kits out there, 8 different types of test kits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but there's 8 different approved test kits out there. But I mean, I applaud Pat Ryan for getting the county $33,000. That was tremendous. I mean, I was telling friends I have in other communities, they're like, "What? They're not available." For him to come up with $33,000 and to designate $22,000 to the schools was very smart.
Really smart, yeah. So that was the other thing. Monday night, the school did a distribution for parents and children.
Right.
So there were,
I'm sure people were double dipping.
People in our community, so not everybody could get one.
Right.
But hopefully the folks that would benefit the most for having it did get one.
Yes, you talk about double dipping. There were at least 2 that Joe was certain.
Came through twice.
Went through, drove around Canoe Hill, Mike Kraut Road, came back in. Now, what do you?
And it's tough to. I know, but it's still.
You got to think about the people that didn't get.
But I mean, how are you guys giving them out? 1 per car, or 2 per car, or do you have to say how many family members you had?
We asked how many family members. So
Okay.
if it was a household of 3 or less, they got 1.
Okay.
If it was a household of 4 or more, they got
2.
2.
Okay.
And if it was, I'm so impressed with the young folks that did this for us. So we put Post-it notes on the door. So if it was a white Post-it note, it indicated there was a family of 3 or less, they were issued 1 test.
Oh.
If there was a green Post-it note, it was an indication that there was a family of 4 or more, they were issued 2 tests. If there were 2 Post-it notes, it means the car was represented by 2 families, they were eligible for 2 tests.
Wow.
But that was the hardest part of the whole system.
Oh, so some vehicles had 2 families.
Some people had 2 families. Yeah.
Oh, and then they put 2 on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were.
Now, someone said you were actually having people fill out forms, or just asking questions.
Did.
You did.
We
See,
did.
we're not doing that. We're just.
Oh.
Well,
that was a directive that came down from the
Came from the
county,
county,
right?
yeah.
But then Mark Ryder pulled the plug on that.
Yeah, that came up on a
we
call
started-
yesterday too. Yeah, about whether because some communities were and some weren't. And I said we're not. We're giving them out in the village. I'm not gonna.
I would say more than 2/3 of the tests we gave out came with the documentation that the county requested, but we were causing a traffic problem on Market Street.
Yeah.
And
Now, Ralph Grimaldi told me when he pulled in that the traffic was, I find this hard to believe, that was back down just about to Main Street.
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
But, if you start mixing in people,
Getting home from
and that's a
work.
busy time of the,
Yeah.
of the busy time of the day, evening, and Market Street is very, very heavily, I can see that possibly be.
Mark Ryder stayed with us the whole time.
Did he?
Yeah,
Nice.
he got there a little bit before 4, and he stayed right to the
What
end.
time did you guys get done?
We were done by like 5:15.
Yeah, because I got done with my meeting at 6:15. I came through and there was nothing.
Yeah, it went.
6:30. I think I came through.
They just did a great job setting
That's good.
it up. They, when the cars all obviously lined up early, but we held off because we knew we were going to run out, and we held off until it started to cause a traffic congestion problem on Market Street.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that started to occur, then we felt the pressure to start moving the line, and that happened about 3:45.
I would say, yeah.
And by 5:15, We were done.
So you must have came down and snuck in through Beers Lane, because I never saw you.
Yeah,
So I didn't even know you were on site, and you said you were on there.
Yeah, I did. I came in through Beers because when we pulled, I don't know, Travis dropped me off like between 3:30 and 3:45, and when we pulled up, you could see the cars were already out on Lozier.
Yeah.
I was like, oh boy.
How'd you get the word out so quick on that?
We used the town social media.
Yeah. Like I said, we just did
So
it.
there was a little bit of confusion. I don't know how
I don't know where that release came from, unless
don't
it came
either.
from the county when they initially thought that we were going to do the Greco Center. Because obviously somebody had contacted the town clerk's office, because I saw it on our web-based master calendar. But we had thrown that idea around, but this here was much quicker, and people don't have to get out of the car. They don't have to go in an indoor environment.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had, and I'm sure we would have experienced the same thing of all those people. First of all, there's not enough parking in the parking lot, and the building would have been packed, and that's not good.
No. So the initial thought on Thursday when the masks became available was we would have did a distribution out of the senior
Not
center.
mass test.
Yeah, and then sorry, test.
That was last year, mask.
Yeah. But we actually
gave masks out,
We did give masks out because we came across a box of masks, and I thought this
Well,
was
it's
a
funny.
great way to get rid of those too. So we gave them out with the.
I heard on the radio the other day about a mask shortage. I'm like, where's there a mask shortage? I mean, I don't, at least in this area, there's definitely no mask shortage. There's not a store you can't go into where you can't pick up a package of masks right now. But it seems there are still parts of the country that have mask shortage because they're saying, with the test that the government should look to sending out masks to every family, the I-95s or whatever they are, and.
I think there is a shortage of those.
Yeah, but
Those, I tell you, after wearing a regular mask for a while, it irritates your ears and stuff.
Yeah.
The N95s are harder to breathe through.
Yeah.
They're much more protective. But
well, again, I think those should be, if they're still giving them out, they should be for people who are unvaccinated. I think people who are vaccinated and have the booster are probably okay with just a regular mask. If everything's correct. I have my booster now. My daughter's got theirs on Monday, and they were both sick yesterday.
After the boost,
I was fine.
You were fine?
Dana arm hurt for a couple of days. I was a little nauseous the next morning.
Yeah.
But then by noontime, I was fine. Both Jack and Jill couldn't get out of bed yesterday. I mean, they text me like 8 o'clock in the morning like, Dad, we feel like crap. I'm like, well, that's good. You're on break anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt. I couldn't move.
Real nice. I feel like crap. That's good.
That's good. I'm like, well, when you have daughters, you get used to the drama a little bit sometimes.
They say that, and I was speaking with a doctor. I was telling Fred after we did the shots, and he feels, as many of his colleagues, that the level of your immunity, the lower that immunity is, the more symptoms you will have, and the more elevated the symptoms. And if you have a strong immune system, you may have no reaction at all. Like I never had a sore arm.
I didn't either.
I wasn't tired.
I had a little soreness after the second shot, but I never got sick from any of the 3 shots. Now you, obviously, Freddie's got a low immune system here.
But he also had COVID.
Which should have made his immune system even stronger.
Well, you would think. I don't know. Just like there's people. You hear people that go for a flu shot and then they get the flu or they get a cold.
Yeah, I get sick from the flu.
I never do.
Sick.
I had my flu shot 2 weeks ago.
Like you took a vitamin C.
What?
Like taking a vitamin C for you don't feel anything.
No, I even got actually I'm due for. I got to get a B12 shot too.
I get it. After my COVID shot, I was full on sick. I had a fever. I couldn't get out of bed. Every part of my body hurt.
It knocked Keith right out.
Yeah, well, everybody's different, and I was just thinking on the way in today. If someone had told us 2 years ago we'd still be talking about this, be like, are you kidding me? No way. Yeah. I mean, I can't believe we're going through another Christmas holiday like this.
Well, you know something? Everybody at the onset, President Trump.
They said 2 years.
Everything about the vaccine, and that was going to be the cure-all. Oh. We get the vaccines, now you have these people don't want to. And they booed Trump the other day.
Yeah, when he said he got back, he got a booster.
He got his booster.
Yeah.
He got his booster.
That was so bizarre, wasn't it?
I mean, my God almighty.
But I mean, I do remember a few doctors in the beginning saying this is definitely a multiple year.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And I remember thinking, no way.
Yeah, no one wanted to believe it. I didn't want to believe this, But, at least now with the vaccines, if you do get it, most people do not get overly sick. So let's get off of that subject. We talked about that enough. Some good news. After we left the show on Wednesday, we were notified that we were awarded a CFA grant for an air-cooled chiller, $269,000. And that was a 50-50 match, and it represented 50% of what we had submitted for a budget. And very seldom do you get funded to the full 50% of what they permit. And I shared that. I hosted the Kiwanis Christmas breakfast yesterday morning, and I shared it with them. They had a nice turnout. They have several new members. Two of them I did not get to meet because they had to apparently get going and leave for work.
Andrew and Nina?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
They've become very active in the village. Andrew Zink and Nina. I'm not even going to try to mess up her last name. Okay. But they came to me 8 months ago, wanted to get involved in the village. Nina's the one who just purchased the old Dragon Inn.
Oh, jeez.
And
I'm going to have to make it a point to get out there in January. And
Andrew drove my planning board. Nina's an alternate on it. Now they both wanted to join the tree commission, so I just appointed a tree commission. They both want to be they're great young people to get involved. Yeah.
It's good to see that young people getting involved because it's a rarity. It
is, and the two of them have been, they come to village board meetings now, and Nina then get a report on the library because she was on the library board. So it's excellent to see them. They're both, very ambitious and.
I will say this: we have in Mountain West Campfire Company, we have quite a few newer members that have joined over the last few years, and I was quite impressed to see the number of young members. Some of them new, some of them semi-new. When we did the toy giveaway from Centerville Cedar Grove.
There are a lot of new faces there.
A lot of new faces.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That was an awesome day too. I mean, between the sheriff's department, state police, the Saugerties police, and the fire departments. I mean, the amount of people volunteers that showed up, and they all were smiling and having a good time. And I mean, that was plus we had a beautiful day for it.
It was.
It was a classic Bob Circonsano day. Good weather and
You can't pick them.
Oh my God! I mean, I'm gonna have him plan my daughter's weddings when they get married. I think, just so we get a good day.
Yeah, it was great.
I see his ice cream shop's being built now. Did you see that?
Yeah, that'll be up and running for spring.
Yep, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that was the ultimatum that whoever was a successful contractor got. Regardless of the way the weather's going to be, blizzard, whatever, and that's got to be done by the spring.
Well,
Larry can make a career out of being a general contractor. He's really.
But they're having trouble getting the supplies, though.
That's the story with everything.
Material.
What else is new?
I know.
Yeah.
I think they were planning on being a lot farther along at this point, originally. And I know Bob was saying that.
Challenge for any project, whether you're building a home or a commercial project. I know the hotel that's being built in Glasgow, they're so far off their construction schedule because they couldn't get rebar steel.
Where's that being built?
People behind the Glasgow Firehouse.
People have asked me.
32.
What is it, farmhouse?
No, this was this is called Wildlick Resort.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay, resort. Okay. Yes. I did that. Yes. Someone said hotel, and I'm thinking Holiday Inn, and I'm like, they can't be having a Holiday Inn in Glasgow.
There's a hotel part of it, isn't there?
There is. There's an inn part of it.
But it's not a chain hotel.
No. This is going to be a boutique. They're going to have a spa, and they're going to host conventions and weddings and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And I grew up down there, and I played on that property literally thousands of times. And when I went there for the opening and I stood on the site of where the inn is going to be, I was like, how did I overlook this?
What about all night?
Looking at the river and Overlook Mountain at the exact same time.
All the nights we drank watching Glasgow fireworks there.
Yeah.
Right?
We looked at the fireworks. And
we got the fireworks.
Hey, I got one quick announcement here, hot off the press, that I got from Ray Teeter, our commander up in Saugerties, the American Legion. All Legionnaires, auxiliary, sons, Legion riders, and spouses cordially invited to attend the Ulster County American Legion State Commander's Visitation. And the State Commander, Frank Lamarche, will be coming to Ulster County, and there's a dinner in his honor on Friday, January 14th, taking place at the Rosendale Tilson Post. Social hour, 5 to 6, dinner 6 p.m. Tickets are $35, cash bar. And dinner is a buffet. You need to call for reservations by December 31st. That number is 845-901-4600. 845-901-5196. 845-901-5196 by December 31st to get your ticket secured for the visitation of Frank LaMarche, who is the state commander coming to Ulster County, and the Tilson Post, Rosendale Tilson Post. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Good. We didn't really give the chiller the time it deserved, and we got like a minute left. So let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
so
it's
an air-cooled chiller.
It's an air-cooled chiller, and it eliminates all water use, and we pay about between 17 and 19,000 a year for water. And even though in the Northeast, water conservation isn't as important as out west or other places, but water conservation is important. It's a precious commodity.
So you're taking away from village revenue then, huh?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, you people
I don't support it.
Yeah, we never got charged until the ice arena started being real successcul, and somebody on the village board had the notion, let's go after them. And
listen, I remember that I called you, and you came to me and said, Murph, you're right, we should.
I did?
Yeah, you did. We had a very pleasant conversation. I'm like, Greg, I think we need to start charging the ice rink for water.
And so it eliminates water use, water cost, and then the water tower, the cooling tower, which is an energy pig, it runs off a three-phase 480, that gets eliminated. The condensate pump gets eliminated. The sump tank gets eliminated. So basically, that building is going to be naked after that building goes out, because obviously an air-cooled chiller has to be outdoors. It can't be in an enclosed environment. Cost savings, the first year is approximately $32,000. That increases over a span of 25 years when it hits about $69,000 a year. And overall, over that span, $1.4 million. And the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions is over 5,200 tons. The effect of the global warming in metric tons is over 6,500. So, you kind of put that into perspective. That's like a decrease in, oh boy, I think I'm going to botch this number. I think it's over 1,300 vehicles being removed from the road.
Wow.
So besides the cost savings, the positive
That's awesome.
Environmental that we're gonna derive.
The reduction in carbon footprint by itself will almost give us the opportunity to meet our climate goal for the town.
And the chiller that we currently have is, a chiller life expectancy is 20 to 25 years. And that chiller is is 20 years old, and we would have had to replace it. And the R22 is being phased completely out in 2025. So if that chiller was to make it by then, it would cost us nearly $80,000 to convert and get away from the R22. So this is an ammonia-based refrigerant, air-cooled, much less energy efficient, even the chiller itself, besides what I had mentioned. But obviously those cost savings were all factored into it.
This is such a win-win.
Will now be up and ready for next season?
I don't know, because I just got a letter from
I didn't even plan my budget.
I got a letter from the state yesterday, and obviously we can't do anything until we have a contract signed. Yeah. Oh no, we have the letter of commitment. It went to you also, and I've already been in touch with our refrigeration consultant, and we're already working on building bid specifications, so that when we are able to. And that's something I'm going to have to find out after the first year. Can we go out to bid prior to signing the contract? I know no physical work can start,
right,
but I don't see the harm in going out, because all you're doing is testing the markets.
Right.
And, if all of a sudden they said absolutely not, you throw the bids out the window. And I'm just hoping that there's not a lot of companies that will that deal with these air-cooled chillers, but oh, geez, we talked right through the break. Are we taking break, or what are we doing?
Yeah, I had one announcement to make about the Happy Christmas one. But
yeah, no, go right ahead. Let's.
Well, March is on the phone, so let's just take her. We'll just talk at 8.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, March.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for putting up with me calling in. We had a really late night last night in the county, so I'm glad to be able to appear by phone, but thanks for putting up with me.
No, we're happy to have you.
We're happy to have you. Whether it's, obviously we'd love to see you here, but I'm glad you decided to join us, even though you had a late night.
Yeah, so I heard you guys talking about the Christmas presents, and I want to give a shout out to my home fire department, Bloomington Fire. I'm a member of the auxiliary there, and we put together, for Commitment to Kids, 4,700 Christmas gifts for kids. 1,800 of those went to People's Place. But, they go all throughout the county, Ellenville, Shandaken, I think some come up to Saugerties, and it was a massive, massive effort. Got some great pictures of everybody in the department sort of moving those presents. But, yeah, Christmas gifts, glad to make it happen.
Yeah, it's fun. It's uplifting to be part of those programs. It really is.
Absolutely, yep. Do you guys want some numbers? I'm the comptroller for the county. I figured I could share some county information if that's helpful.
Absolutely.
All right. So we we'll be publishing our third quarter financial report soon. And here's what I can tell you. We are in really, really good shape. We have collected 73% of our budgeted revenues, and that's compared to previous years that are usually in the 60s. So we're up on revenues. And we've spent only 57% of our budgeted expenditures, and usually we spend more than that by this time. So, we will see some year-end stuff, but I think the message is that we're going to close 2021 with a surplus probably bigger than the 2020 surplus. And it means we should be thinking about the future because we're going to have costs coming in the future that, like pension fund costs and retiree healthcare costs, and I know Fred and Bill deal with this and think about this, but the liabilities for employees that come later are something we don't think about right now. We should be preparing for that.
You're right, Marge. That's kind of he used to talk about that all the time. Jeremy Wilbur, he was one of the first. Pension costs that we kind of defer and don't really set the money aside for until we need it, and. If you only get one retiree every 18 months or so, you could kind of muddle through it. But if you had 5 or 6 people go at once, that's a lot of money to come up with all in one fell swoop. For the county,
I know for Ulster County, our net position is negative $75 million, and it's almost strictly because of those out-year liabilities. But it's a big number the taxpayers are going to have to pay.
Yeah, so the metric's so different for the county than it is versus the town of Saugerties or even the village of Saugerties, because we have 80 or so. I think you guys have like over 1,000, right?
I have 25.
Yeah, I think 1,100 or something like that. You mean people, retired folks? Yeah, that's true. Another set of numbers I wanted to share with you, and this really goes to what you were saying about the new resort that's being built in Glasgow. Our job numbers took a real hit, obviously, during COVID, but we've seen tremendous growth on the job side, and you can see that unemployment is down. But, for example, leisure and hospitality jobs by the end of the third quarter, which is closed at the end of September, those jobs were up 1,100 jobs or 16.4% growth year over year, which is pretty amazing. And the other big percentage growth category was local government. A lot of local governments had cut positions during the pandemic and added them back. That was 600 jobs coming back. And it's funny, when we think about jobs in Ulster County, we think leisure and hospitality is a really big sector. But if you add local government, schools, county, and state, government is the largest employer in Ulster County. So I know it's something we don't like to think about, but government services is a very, very big sector for us. But leisure and hospitality really came back, and I think we're seeing that in our bed tax, which is higher than it's ever been. So that's
some good news. Marge, do you know currently what is the percentage of unemployment in Ulster County?
It's just over 4% right now. We're mirroring the Hudson Valley, so it's really lower than it's been in a very long time.
Yeah, that is lower than very long.
Quite lower than the national average.
But you can see the tension from employers who can't find staff. I mean, we thought it was just because there was a lot of people not working, but it's not just that. There is a shortage of help. And I think back to when I was taking classes, when I heard the professors predict as the baby boomer generation began retiring, there would be a labor shortage. And they seemed crazy talking about it at the time because we were all, as Gen Xers, we were entering the job market going, where are we supposed to work? And now those folks look like prophets because what they predicted is actually happening.
That's true. And the quit rate, I don't have the most recent quit rate numbers, but they are higher than they've been maybe ever, where people are just like full on just quitting their jobs, even without having something else lined up. And I see this with my own teenagers. They feel like they can just get a job anytime. And I'm saying to them, you guys, this has never happened before. You're never going to see a job market like this, where you can literally walk out your door and the first business you come across is looking for people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just have not had a market like that, a job market like that before.
No, there's a dramatic sea change underfoot, and I don't think we have the data to exactly tell us why. And but I think there will be a paradigm shift on the other side of it. There's trends. We've all gone to a kiosk now to order food. I think that's a trend that's going to remain. And things like that, where things become more automated, are going to partially be the solution to the shortages in the job market.
Well, we got home delivery for meals. We just started that, the Hello Fresh, and getting home delivery meals, and they come,
it comes with all the ingredients.
All the ingredients, and it saves time. And what?
I hate that.
Well, you do. I know, I understand. But for Dana and I, it's actually, being empty nesters. But yeah, like you said, it's a paradigm shift, no doubt about it. But where you lose some jobs, it's going to create other jobs too.
Yeah,
that's right. Hey, listen, you guys, I just pulled up the numbers they came out yesterday. Actually, our unemployment rate is 3.5%. Wow. So I was wrong. It's even lower than 4% right now.
Yeah, so we're at full employment. There's always a small percentage of transitional employment, and when you hit under 4, economists generally say you're at full employment. And if we're that low, that's it.
That's good.
We're there.
Yeah.
We're there.
That's
I
impressive.
think we're going to see a lot more labor union organizing. You saw that Starbucks that was up near Buffalo go union, and then was it Kellogg's yesterday reached an agreement with labor. So I think 2022 we're going to see a lot of labor organizing, and maybe that will mean better working conditions and some better pay in certain categories. I definitely think that's a possibility when you think of sectors like healthcare, right, where they've just been dealing with such onerous conditions over the last 2 years. But, yeah, I think we're going to see a wave of union organizing, given the quit rate, the low unemployment. Yep.
I agree. And I think there's many positive side effects to folks, especially in industries where they didn't have those types of opportunities for organization and getting benefits to make those jobs sustainable for families. But the consequence, a negative consequence, is likely that some of the inflation pressures we are experiencing will remain. I remember reading stories about we have this abundance of fairly cheap food, and a lot of it was associated because migrant workers would come and do the harvests and the plantings. And if that's a paradigm shift as well, the higher food prices are likely to remain.
And prices are way up. I mean, inflation, I think I mentioned this to you guys a few months ago. We didn't used to track it in the controller's office as something that people really cared about. But our latest inflation numbers, energy is up, 30% in 12 months. All items up 6.2%. Food up 5.3%. But I also think when you start to dig into some of those categories, certain categories of food are way high, like meat and and some other things. Yeah.
Which I think you touched on something
for that is.
You touched on something I want to put a plug out for. So we are all subject to whatever the price of gas is at the pump. But for our energy supplies at home, we have been given a number of opportunities by the Public Service Commission to manage and even out those fluctuations in energy prices. And folks can go out there and they can secure an energy contract so that their price will remain stable. And I encourage them to do that. Some communities have CCA programs. We adopted one in Saugerties. You're eligible to enter into that contract, and that will stabilize your energy bill, at least for the energy portion of it. There has been some fluctuations and changes in billings in the delivery of electricity that are impacting residents too. But we do have, as consumers, some power to manage those costs.
And Fred, let me just add to that. We just posted on our Facebook for the office, that is Ulster County Controller March Gallagher, the Facebook page. We put up there the HEAP the link for HEAP, which people can apply for online. The income eligibility limits are based on the size of the household, and there's a link right in there if people are interested. But people really should take advantage of that if they're struggling with the heat costs, because it is definitely higher than it's been in quite a few years. Yeah. So what else is going on in Saugerties for Christmas, you guys? You saw we built the book trees in the bookstore.
They're very nice, Marge. I noticed them myself. They're very creative. That was obviously your idea, not Brian's, right?
Yeah, no, I took the day off before Thanksgiving to do that, and I actually stole the idea with credit to her from Jessica Ayaya at the Half Moon Bookstore in Kingston, who had done it a few years ago. But what happened was People's Place has a visit all these different holiday trees throughout Ulster County, get a stamp at each store, and then return the stamped pamphlet back to People's Place, and then you're eligible for a bunch of free giveaways, like gift certificates from all the stores. So we thought it was a nice way to support People's Place, get people some holiday fun and get people out doing some local shopping, and that was our logic there. Yeah.
Marge, that gets a ton of attention because it's really creative.
It is cool.
I see people taking pictures of that 4 or 5 times a week as I drive through the village. So
I mean, really, and if you go right down Main Street, a lot of the places have done, great jobs decorating their storefronts. It's really pretty charming. I mean, I came through this morning at 6 o'clock, and I'm like, it's pretty neat.
It's really good.
I did notice 2 wreaths out. I got to let George know, but the bridge.
The snowman isn't lit on top of the tree.
No. Okay, I'll check that out. Even the bridge lights, like sometimes when it rains, the rain can, just the way they're set up. So I'll make note of that the snowman was not lit up this morning. I didn't look that high up.
I noticed it. When did I first notice it? I think Jen and I took before we come over to dinner to your place Saturday evening, and the village looks great.
The bridge, I went all out with the bridge this year, and it's driving me crazy because when we get a rain like we did last night, I came through and the railings are out again. They get shorted out, so I got to DPW guys out there again. I love going through that bridge lit up. I think that bridge,
great. It does look
especially coming down the hill and looking at it.
You see,
Saugerties looking good.
Yeah,
Saugerties looks excellent. Yeah,
we try.
And then the building. I can't think of the guy's name. It used to be the old schoolhouse with the cupola on top.
Oh yeah, the Grinch. Oh, that's Henson.
Spectacular.
Henson's house.
Henson.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of.
That's quite unique.
Yeah.
And that you really get. It looks impressive as you're going up the hill.
That's the first I noticed that. My daughters claim it was there last year.
No.
They said the Grinch was, but not the wraparound.
Okay, probably maybe not the
wraparound.
wraparound.
Yeah.
But the wraparound really punctuates.
Oh wow! It just blows it away.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and of course, Seaman Park looks amazing.
Yep.
So we're in the gateway by the railroad tracks. Looks great. There's the Blue
Cats.
Yeah. So we're.
I also think, and I don't know what you think, Marge. I think more and more homes are decorated this year than ever before. The exterior of homes.
I absolutely agree with that, and I love it. I'd like people to leave that up straight through the dark months of January and February. We went over to the Bruderhof at Old Mount St. Alphonsus, now the Mount Academy. They had a drive-through Christmas event, so me and my family drove through that, and it was amazing. They had carolers. It happened to be raining, and then we also drove by Roger Boughton's place. Isn't he an officer for the Saugerties Force part-time? You know who I'm talking about. His son works for me. And they're over on 9W in Port Ewan, a crazy amount of lights. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to see Christmas lights, and Saugerties is definitely...
There's another new one, a new big competition for Jimmy Bruno this year on Old Stage Road, Frank Tiano's place.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
That's a drive-through, down where he put the barn and all that. Unbelievable job Frank did out there. So if you go down Old Stage Road, there's a sign. You'll see. I don't know the address, but if you're going Fortune Valley Manor, that's it. Yes, thank you.
It's right on Old Stage Road.
Yeah, it's worth the ride. Yeah, Frank did
a great job off of Glasgow Turnpike. Right before you get the railroad tracks by the Mount Marion Firehouse.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I did see that too, yes.
And I don't know how he did it, but he's 60, 70 feet in the air on that tree decoration.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great to see.
Have a bucket truck or something. I think that I agree with Greg. I think people are getting more creative, and I kind of like it because if you look at most of our architecture and house decoration in general in the regular months, we use kind of like normal colors, right? Like white or dark gray, or you don't see like a lot of colorful houses. But then at the holidays, people go all out, and I just feel like you see people's creativity. It's kind of fun.
It's kind of fun.
It is.
Well, you know, a good idea. I came up a couple of years ago, like when I do my Christmas decorations, I don't go Griswold, but I like to go pretty, I have cases of outdoor decorations. But now the last couple of years, I do my front of my house in red and white. And you know why I do that? Because come February, I take down the Christmas decorations, put up Valentine's, and I can utilize the same lights. My neighbors have all taken note of that, saying that's a great idea. You get double use out of my Christmas lights.
That's what we were thinking with our holiday trees at the store. Notice they don't have Christmas on them. They're just kind of white winter scenes. We're like, oh, okay, well, this, it's going to be winter for a while. So
throw some red in there and you'll be set for Valentine's Day.
When I was building those, I said to Brian, I need books to build them. So he was like, okay, we'll use some of these. He gave me some cases of new Phoenicia Diner cookbooks, and I should have realized it was going to be a problem. As I was building the tree, on the children's window, a woman comes up to me and literally buys the book out of my hand. And now people want that cookbook, and the staff is having to substitute in other books. I heard that the tree was leaning a little bit, so yeah, people want it. But we had the same idea as you, Bill. Like keep it hot, keep it winter, go right into Valentine's. It's a great opportunity for people to be creative, and even people like me who use spreadsheets, and that's our fun, can make something nice.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, we just need a little white snow for Christmas.
No, we're good. Just what we have.
No, I know I don't want it, but I'm just saying that's for one day. Just one day, they get a dusting.
Get it though.
No.
The forecast is
supposed to be 48 on Christmas Day.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, I'm good with it too.
That is fine with me.
I don't mind a brown Christmas.
One of the
did
worst
you guys
things
have
I
a test
hate.
giveaway in Saugerties? Did we have a test? We did, right? A county test giveaway
Yep.
site.
Yeah.
Where was that, and how was it? Did anybody attend?
Did anybody attend? We had traffic backed up. We did it at the complex, and as Fred alluded to, well, go ahead. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Marge, it was amazing. We were allocated almost 600 test kits. We set up on Monday evening at 4, and we had 2 lanes of cars coming through. Greg's staff just came up with a great plan to do it. We dispatched folks to collect the data that the county wanted, and we gave away all 500 and change masks in about an hour and 15 minutes.
Masks. Okay, you keep saying
masks. I know.
I don't know. You
I'm in the mask mode. But we gave away all the test kits in about an hour and 15 minutes, and actually Mark Ryder stayed with us the entire time.
So that really shows you the demand. People want those tests. I went to Walgreens in Kingston, I don't know, maybe 10 days ago. They had a bunch of tests. I bought some and sent my deputy down there the next day, gone. They were gone already. So people really need them. I think they want to be safe for the holidays, check before they spend time with their family.
Yeah. We probably could have given 800 to 900 because even after all those people that we turned around, and like I said, and the other thing, March, our supervisor sends me out to Market Street to be the bearer of the bad news that we are out of COVID test. And the traffic was back down well past Robinson Street. And then you came up to the office, and we were watching cars just continually go through looking for them. So I bet we could have given 800 to 900 away, but it was very, very successful. I think the residents were very, very appreciative.
Overwhelmingly, they were appreciative. We always have a couple that didn't.
You always get that.
And we still have some available at the Village March. We're giving them away at the front desk. We've been doing that since last Thursday because we had, I think, 200 we got. So we've given away a vast majority of them, but they're still available at Village Hall as of today. So anybody in the village who wants to stop by and grab one can.
Do they have to be a village resident?
Great.
No, we're not checking.
Okay.
We're giving them. I mean, everybody needs them. I'm not going to get to that.
All right, good. I'm sending Brian over to get some tests.
No, absolutely. I mean, no, and I've told, I had a couple of village business owners call me and say, hey, Bill, I don't live in a village, but can I get a test? I'm like, absolutely. Come on over and grab one. So.
Good.
Yeah, I had a friend reach out to me, and she's like, well, you work for the county, get me a couple tests. I was like, we don't have, boxes of them in the building. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't go stand on line for you right now. But she just thought, because you work for the, for the county, you must have them. What we did have in the building yesterday? The tax bills the county prints out the tax bills for the taxing jurisdictions. I walked in the building and there were just racks and racks and racks on the first floor tax bills. I was like, uh-oh, here comes 2022.
Yeah, that's next year's problem. Nobody's excited to get those.
I took pictures of that. I'm like, I'm going to use this on social media when we're talking about taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
Here's all the money we're going to be needing in 2022. Yep, it's true.
Yeah, so it was interesting to do an analysis of the rates. People get muddled into the idea that they hear, depending how it's reported in the newspaper, folks in our positions, we like to announce that the tax rate's going down because that implies that people are going to save money. However, if the spending went up, even if the tax rate went down, you may still be having a bigger tax bill than the year prior. And the assessed values impact that.
Absolutely.
And it hits oddly. Communities that do not maintain a trend and have 100% assessments, the fluctuations in the rates there kind of present themselves with the county rates, which I found a little bit curious. And
people really do not understand equalization, and it's hard to explain to people. But yes, if towns do not do a revaluation of their properties every few years, they fall behind, and then we have to use an equalization rate to bump them up, and it makes it look very uneven.
It does, yes. And some of the evidence that we were able to identify. So there's always disparities in assessments, and when the rates fall behind 5 or 6 years or a significant percentage, those disparities really manifest themselves. So you'll see a sale for a commercial property of $2 or $3 million, and the assessment might be $900, and the residents are kind of picking up that gap because there's no opportunity for that adjustment to take place.
Well, what assessor doesn't bump those up the next year? I mean, you guys do. Almost everyone does, right?
We trend, so we try our best to stay current. But, with the market doing what it's doing right now, and you're always a year behind, there's still big disparities. So it's,
the market is insane. It's been crazy. I mean, actually, on the residential side, we don't have the November New York State Association of Realtors data yet, but the October median home sale price dropped a little bit from $370, which is so high, to something like $333, I think it was. And the reason is just a lack of inventory. There are just no homes out there for sale, and the ones that are out there are being scooped up right away.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty, it's extraordinary, and it's good for some and very difficult for others. It's a challenging time when it comes to housing issues.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, I think we're going to continue to see the municipalities being pressured to create affordable housing, which is not really an easy thing to do. You have to do it through other people's projects, right? So I think we'll continue to see that. I did notice Rupco had I pointed this out to Kevin O'Connor at Rupco the other day. They have this new landlord assistance program that provides up to a $15,000 grant per unit that you commit to keep affordable. And so I was looking at that, and then I looked at the rates that they had named as, what was affordable, and Greene County on the rate sheet was listed as higher rents than Ulster. And I reached out to Rupco, and I'm like, I think you have the two counties reversed. There's no way Greene County rents are higher than Ulster. He wrote me back yesterday. He was like, no, you're right. Those are switched around. But landlords, that are thinking about creating an affordable unit or who have an affordable unit that they're struggling to keep affordable should look at that Rupco program, because I do think it's an innovative way now, working through existing landlords to keep units affordable.
That's a challenge. And, we are fortunate to have a HUD office within the town hall. But even that, landlords, especially over the past 2 years, maybe had a bad experience, and they don't want to go back into a voucher program. And, it's unfortunate, but that's a lot of the way that affordability component could be acknowledged quickly. It takes a long time to plan a project and actually build a building, and the communities are not always receptive to that type of housing being built when it's dedicated to affordability. So the voucher programs kind of supplement that brick and mortar opportunity. But if a landlord has a tough experience with a resident, they sometimes are dissuaded from doing that again, and the inventory of apartments is limited. So when those landlords don't participate anymore, it makes it a little bit challenging, even for our HUD office, to find housing for eligible candidates.
Exactly. Well, this new RUPCO program is not a voucher program. It's literally a grant per unit, so it's a little bit different. I think we have a lot of Airbnbs that have eaten our inventory, and it's coming down to municipalities to regulate that. It's not really something the county can do, and it's not really something the state can do right now with the way the land use laws are set up. But I'm sure we'll be talking about affordable housing well into 2022.
Yeah, it's going to be around a while. We have data that kind of tells us how much elbowing Airbnbs are doing into the housing market and taking away. Because my experience with the Airbnbs kind of says that it's a property that was likely to be a single-family home or something else versus a rental property. In Saugerties, that's kind of the experience anyway.
Well, single-family homes are rental properties too. So I think don't cross those off your list. A lot of people do rent single-family homes. I don't have great numbers on that. Airbnb doesn't release the total number of hosts anymore that they used to. The latest data I had was from 2018, and there were over 1,800 hosts in Ulster County. So I don't have that, and obviously the county, we work with a third-party vendor that scours the internet and prepares like a list of likely short-term rentals, which we share out to the municipalities. But I don't have the answer to that. That's that's data I wish I had, Fred. I'll be thinking about that in 22 for sure.
I think that's data that's relevant because it's kind of an abstract argument if we can't quantify it with something.
Exactly. That's so true. Yep. And it's not just a problem here. It's a problem in many other places, especially tourism destinations, places like Vail, Colorado, and Venice. I know Ireland adopted a rule that is one host, one home, and that is people can only Airbnb out one house additional to the home that they're in, which I think, changes the business model, but maybe limits it to some degree too. So,
March, unfortunately, we are out of time. It's always great having you. That half hour always flies right by.
I know. Thanks for having me, Greg. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you.
Hanukkah.
And we'll be back in a few.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
100 years ago, there were 100,000 tigers in the wild. Today, there are as few as 3,200. The Earth's wild animals can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
Hi, I'm Ruth Quick from the town of Ulster. I support Kingston Community Radio, and you should too.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Okay, we're back, Greg.
Well,
Thank you, Lawrence, and welcome back, viewers and listeners who have been with us. Those just joining us, welcome. 331-9255 is our call-in number. In the studio here with me is Fred Costello, Supervisor, Town of Saugerties. Bill Murphy, Village Mayor.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WG.
Oh, see, I'm in here talking to Kevin.
I'm an MBA from New York.
Okay, so we just had a little glitch, but anyway, 331-9255 is our call-in number.
On his credentials. And I'm just...
And also State Assemblyman Kevin Cahill, who's delivering us some nice breakfast treats here. And it's time for birthdays. Thank you.
Bill, you have two.
I have two. First off, happy birthday, Kelly Mazuka. Love your family and your many friends. Have a marvelous day.
I have a happy birthday to Peggy Webb from your friends at People's Place. We hope you enjoy your special day.
And another People Place birthday. Happy birthday to Brenda Becker, who I believe I went to high school with. Your friends at People Place, we hope you enjoy your special day. And we miss Hot Rocks.
And there is one other birthday that I just got notified of yesterday by Woodstock Town Supervisor Bill McKenna. The town clerk in Woodstock, Pam Boyle's birthday. But shame on Bill that Bill didn't get it in time so that Pam could be in the running for the cow pie. So today's winner of that famous cow pie is Brenda Becker. Brenda, when you get the opportunity, get down to Boy's Dairy Milk House, 62 O'Neill Street, right here in Kingston, New York. Pick up that famous cow pie, which is courtesy of Boy's Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. Brenda, have yourself an awesome day. Congratulations. Happy birthday. And listeners, viewers, it's very easy. Please continue to send these birthdays in. They need to be in the Friday before preceding the week that the birthday occurs. And it's very easy. As I said, you can email to kcr921@gmail.com. You can postal mail to KCR at P.O. Box 4364, Kingston, New York, 12402. Once again, Brenda Becker, happy birthday. Congratulations. Have an awesome day. And to Bill McKenna, I hope you're listening. I think what you need to do is, because you were tardy in sending in Pam's birthday, you need to go to Boy's Dairy Milk House, buy Pam a cow pie, and present her with a cow pie. And better yet, elevate it up and get an ice cream cake for Christmas.
Which, if you gave to Kingston Community Radio's Happy Christmas Fund in person on the day of the radiothon, you could have got one for free if you made a sizable donation.
If you made a sizable donation, that is...
And not to interrupt you guys, but to bring up the Happy Christmas Fund.
Yes, oh yes, you had some important news.
I was going through the list. We have about 60,000 collected. Okay, $69,000 was pledged, and technically you have until Christmas Eve to send it in. I'm going to extend that until Monday because we're about $9,000 light of the collections. I've been going through the pledges and the checks. I've actually located about $4,100 of that money. So if you paid a pledge on November 4th at the radiothon, or through the phone, please send that money in. It's for KCR. It's for the children. You know, excuse me, I ate that sandwich too fast.
You ate that whole thing already?
No, God, no. It's too good to eat the whole thing. I wanted to eat it that fast, but no. If you made a pledge that day, or on the phone, or through one of our hosts, or through Venmo, or for whatever it was, please. If you made the pledge, we need the money. It's to keep KCR in the air. We've already bought the gift cards out and sent them to all the families. We had our best year ever, but if we don't collect the money, it's not really our best year ever. So
right, you know that's very important because Lawrence and Jean already have purchased all of the gift cards, made the donations to,
The families have the cards already.
and then also donations to People's Place.
Actually, we gave Project Santa $1,000. We gave Office of the Aging $3,000. Figuring that all this money's going to come in.
So what do the families do with the
Well, they get first the school social workers and the school nurses submit family names. That's the only way you can get on the list. You can't just call us up and be like, "Hey, we need to get on the list." There's a vetting process that has to take place. Once you get on that list, we distribute either we give them to the social workers or the school nurses, or we mail them directly to the moms and dads.
And what are they good for?
Target cards. They can go shopping with them. School clothes. They're supposed to buy toys and children's clothing, but we leave it up to the moms. If they want to go get a nice Christmas holiday meal, there's a certain amount of money that goes for each kid. Say if a mom and dad have a family of three children, then they'll get a certain dollar amount on the card. They can go to Target. So we buy the cards from Target's corporate offices in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. But all that money, there's only one Target, unless they're going to go to Poughkeepsie, which I doubt they are. All the money gets spent right here in Kingston.
Right.
So
right.
It's a win-win for Ulster County. The money gets, we spent almost $40,000 in gift cards this year because we had quite a lot of families. We had a lot of money. We had our biggest year ever.
Well, I think the point of my question was it's going for an incredibly good cause. It's going to people who are, by the knowledge of the school nurses, and nobody knows better, are people who without this might not have had any kind of holiday whatsoever, and if they did, it would have been significantly compromised. It's the one time a year where there's a means by which we can give to our neighbors without knocking on their door. And we thank you for that, and I hope that everybody who has contributed already will send in a little more. I will. And if you have made a contribution and haven't actually sent the check yet or the whatever payment form you have, then get it in here because it is an important cause. And it's great to break records, but unfortunately, there's a record need too. So
yes. Yeah, well, I've already accounted for $4,150 of it. So technically, there's $5,000 out there. Mm-hmm. Please, if you made a pledge, mail it to P.O. Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Make it out to the WGHQ Happy Christmas Fund, and you'll make a family's Christmas.
And you can also drop it off at Sawyer Motors. You could drop it off also at the Ice Arena, and I'll
just buy me a Tesla, and that would count.
Yep, that's a good
Tesla.
That's a good point. Right,
can't stress it enough. So I believe I mentioned we have our state assemblyman Kevin Cahill.
And before I go on, let me remember 3 birthdays. I'll forget more, but this is just my immediate family, so I think I'll be okay. I have 2 nieces, a niece, Emily, her birthday is coming up this week. My nephew Dylan, who celebrates his birthday on Saturday, and my granddaughter Mila, who will turn 17. Where did that happen?
Yeah, does that happen?
So happy birthday to all those kids and to the 3 other nieces and nephews I forgot. So how's everybody doing?
Trouble, Kev, because if I don't mention my niece now, I'm going to have to answer for it. So happy birthday, Annabella. She just turned 16.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, and happy birthday to Mike Jacqueline, who just turned 21.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the deal with this? How come everybody, every year people have birthdays? What's the deal with that?
Special, right? Imagine being born on a leap year, you only get 1 every 4.
I'd be fine with that. Right about now, I'd be okay.
And these December birthdays they get a birthday month. Like my daughter Jacqueline morphs her in right to Christmas, because it goes right through.
I feel bad for the kids who have birthdays right around Christmas. There is no way that there's a build up to their birthday. There's no way it's as special as it is because the holidays are there. It's almost like it's an asterisk after the holiday, Well,
we have a rule in our house. We can't put up the tree until after Jacqueline's birthday because she doesn't want to keep the difference. But this year she was away at school, and I flew down to see her, and then she flew back with me, and then she had her birthday celebration in South Carolina with me and her uncle. Then we came home. And then we had a family party, and then she had a surprise party with her friends that we had last Friday. So she's milking it pretty good, yeah.
Is the tree up yet?
The tree's now up, yes, because we couldn't.
It's officially Christmas.
Well, we could put it up on the 8th if we wanted to, but then Jill says we couldn't decorate it until she got home from college, which was the 17th. So we had a tree with nothing on it in our living room for
a couple days.
For a few days.
Don't mind.
The cats loved it. Yes. They were drinking the dirty water in the basin and everything, and sleeping under it.
So if I could get to my list, because my staff and I had a serious conversation after the last show when they left out a few things that were homework.
Wow.
But we have some homework assignments here. We can get to them
All right.
right away, dispose of it, and make the folks who are listening sigh with relief that that portion of the program is over. And all they can do is hope that all the usual callers are busy shopping and not calling in with more questions for them to do homework on.
We want to honor their hard work, so
yeah,
go for it.
Nah, never mind. No, no. Last week, George called up and he asked about the BOE checks, the Board of Elections checks. Apparently, there was a slight glitch someplace in the process outside the Board of Elections office between there and the issuance of the checks. And those who have not received the checks will be receiving them. They should have already gotten them last week and yesterday, I think, were the days. But if they haven't gotten them, they should just keep their eye on their mailbox. If they don't show up in a couple of days, then it's worth calling the county and finding out what's going on. Our good friend Dr. Paul and I had a discussion about the cleanup at the former IBM site, and sure enough, any owner under the Superfund law is responsible. IBM remains responsible for it. Mr. Ginsburg, the purchaser, the subsequent purchaser, and soon to be the previous owner of the property, remains liable for it. And the new owners who are coming in there are also responsible for the cleanup, and they have committed to an active cleanup of the site. They're already agreed to put $7 million in to clean it up. And let me just explain. IBM had a cleanup plan. It was a 300-year cleanup plan.
300 years?
300 years, yes.
So is that basically letting Mother Nature degrade the chemicals?
Exactly.
And
just going to say.
We put it there, let God take it away. Yeah, that was their cleanup plan. It was a scientifically sound means of, the planet from a perspective of God, which IBM often acted like around here. But it wasn't a scientifically sound approach for a community that has to live here. It basically was passive wells that were going to let it dissipate ever so slowly in a way that was not harmful to the immediate environment, except if there was a disruption, if there was a flood, if there was just fill in the blank with anything.
It happen all the time.
So we have the beginnings of a new era on what most of us still call Neighborhood Road, and I think it still is Neighborhood Road, but where the Tech City property has now got another name. I think I don't know what the name, I-87 or something, Park, something like that. But no,
we didn't even give March an opportunity to talk about that. She was part of the meeting last night with the legislature.
Right. And I haven't heard from my brother yet, who has also been a part of it. My brother Brian chairs the Economic Development Committee, and together with Pat Ryan's office has been just trying to do everything they can. Now, Brian also is a neighbor of the property within that enclave right next to IBM, the Wood streets and the other streets along there, Dalewood, Dogwood, all those streets. They have been experiencing the problems affiliated with that plant since its closure. The runoff, the asbestos removal that was done improperly, all those things have had a direct neighborhood impact. So not only is it a political and a government and a civic priority that Brian has been undertaking, but also he has got firsthand, hands-on experience with it. So he's been sort of making sure from a legislative point of view that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. And I've never heard him more enthusiastic about anything than he has been about this. So it's a very promising development out there, and I think we're going to see good things. I think it's going to be the reawakening of our area in a way that we've had this little bit of lingering malaise since IBM left. I think it will erase that once and for all and let us embrace the wonderful community we've become.
And it has, in my view, almost absent the pollution issues, the right ingredients. Developing infrastructure is extraordinarily expensive. All the infrastructure is there, and it can be restored.
Red, name infrastructure that's not there. There's natural gas for the time being that's still useful. There is abundant and quality water to the site. There is a railroad siding. There is very convenient highway access. And here's the thing, here's the asset that facility has that we are yet to be able to significantly or appropriately quantify. And that is we have a workforce ready to go to work there. We have a workforce ready to go to work there. Granted, a lot of the IBMers are retired. Many have moved away. Some are still employed by IBM, Brian being one of them. Billy, there's still some still positive effects of that, but there is a workforce that has emerged over the past 2 decades that's ready to do what it takes, and I think the new owners, developers have in mind what a 21st century economy looks like, and I think it will be the appropriate jobs for this appropriate population. And this could be, not to oversell it, but it could very well be that stabilizing influence that allows us to get on that growth trajectory again. I think we saw, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, a steady decline of so many facets of our society since 1994. We saw our charities had to sort of double down and figure out what to do. Our hospital infrastructure has suffered tremendously. Our shopping. I mean, what happened to retail shopping? You heard Lawrence talking about the only department store in town. That in Kohl's. So I think this will provide not just a positive impact on that site and for the developers and stabilize the tax base and all that other stuff. It will do wonderful things for the rest of the community. We'll see positive ripple effects for the next generation from this. So positive thinking. Couple things on legislation and what's going on in the office. You were talking earlier about the take-home COVID test. We offered to make ourselves a site, but I think they had fully subscribed by the time we talked about it. I'm hoping the residents of the building where my offices are had a fair chance to get them. Many of them are homebound. They're elderly, and some of them are very old, and some of them are unable to get really around without assistance. So it was our hope that we can make sure the folks there and other senior housing complexes got access to them, because this is the holidays when seniors will, maybe people who are alone all year long, will actually get to see some members of their family. And we don't want them to get exposure. So it's good that those tests were made available. My understanding more will be made available. I'm told we will be getting tests in the coming weeks, but in one of the future rounds for distribution.
I think one of the significant things for this round of distribution was to get as many as we could out there as quickly as possible, given that the holidays right around the corner, right, and folks may have not gotten together last year.
Yeah. Well, I had my stash that I purchased, and I neglected to seek reimbursement from my health insurance company because the day I got them, I was taking anything I could find. I drove 60 miles around to various pharmacy to get some tests because I knew we would need them. And sure enough, members of my family stopped by yesterday. There was an exposure in a branch of my family, and actually 2 positive tests. And so they're isolated, ruined the holidays for us. We're not going to be able to get together. But that's so minor compared to what so many other people are dealing with. But yeah, it's important to get them out there and get people able to use them. I have 2 kinds at home. I have the proctored kind where I sit in front of a monitor and a proctor determines whether I'm being honest about my test or not, then sends the results in. That's how I got busted, actually, with a home test. That's how I discovered I had COVID, and that's how the health department discovered it, because as soon as that test was over, they contacted the health department, and the health department contacted me. Yeah. And then I have the other test that you do for your own edification, and that's a 2-part test. You do it twice, and the first one, if it's negative, you don't trust it. If it's positive, you trust it. If the second one is, still negative, it's pretty reliable that you don't have it. So
the mayor was sharing that earlier.
Oh, okay.
Because he employed one of those tests, and I had exactly that, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So the tests are available. I just want to reemphasize, I don't have any of the tests that were being distributed. We hope our office will get them for distribution in a couple of weeks. And this is the numbers we are looking at right now are similar to the numbers we saw at the peak of COVID. The very great difference is that the pressure on our healthcare system is, while still tremendous, significantly less than it was because so many people are vaccinated, and therefore their symptoms are significantly reduced.
Do not require that hospitalization.
And that's me. I mean, I had 2 shots, and then I got sick. And it was a mild case. It was still debilitating for a total of about 4 or 5 or 6 days out of the 14 that I was isolated, but I wasn't, at any moment did I feel like I needed to go to a hospital. At no moment did I feel like my life was in danger or even my health. I was uncomfortable, and I was able to sleep through it. And that's the best of all things, because look at me, I'm fat, I'm old, I'm supposed to be the guy that this takes out. And, I'm very fortunate, and to those folks who are still vaccine skeptical, okay, I get it. You don't want to put a vaccine in your body, but you're going to maybe wind up putting COVID in your body, and that may end up taking over your body. So, and the only cases that are in the hospital right now are people who are, I shouldn't say the only, the vast majority of cases of people who are in the hospital are people who are unvaccinated.
So in Saugerties, we suffered recently 3, in my view, unnecessary losses of life. And
all unvaccinated.
All unvaccinated. And, I certainly don't say that. My sympathy goes to the families, but
These are the first 3 people I actually knew. Through all this, the first 3 people that I knew that passed from COVID. And all, within a 2-week period.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a rough couple days there. Unfortunately, I know quite a few folks that I've lost as a result of it.
And you did not have an easy time of it either.
No, it was rough on me.
Yeah.
Vaccines are rough on me.
We were discussing that earlier. Fred's low. What do we call it, Greg? Immune system.
Immune system.
Yeah, weak immune system.
I know people that have been exposed multiple times and have had positive tests multiple times, and they have not gotten sick. And I know other people who have been extremely careful, vaccinated, and who got pretty sick. I mean, I think about how I felt the day after my second shot, and that was worse than how I felt than when I actually had COVID. I could see where you were. Yeah. Did you wind up in the hospital?
I didn't have to stay in the hospital. No, went for an X-ray, and the COVID pneumonia the doctors described as a ground glass opacity. So when they did the X-ray of your chest, it looks as though it's old glass or ground glass.
Yeah,
so you don't get that clarity, and it's kind of widespread throughout your entire lung, and that's what I had. But the doctors were great. They by then even though it was prior to vaccines, the medical community had identified symptoms and figured out ways to treat them.
Yes.
And they did exactly that. I had a rescue inhaler and a Z-Pack, and I was on my feet in a couple of days.
Same with a colleague of mine from Arkansas. He contracted it. It's a state senator in Arkansas that I work with very closely on health insurance issues. And he had contracted it, and it was before the vaccine, but it was after the prognosis of how you go about dealing with the symptoms, and he did a lot of special breathing exercise, very painful sometimes. He said he would sit himself down and cough for several minutes at a time to kind of yeah. And the way he described it has been vivid and in my mind ever since. He said it's like your lungs get coated with Velcro. Mm-hmm. And he said the object is to rip that apart and just not let it stay together. And
stuff has to come out.
Yeah.
But I benefited from it, and I don't have any lingering side effects, thank God. All good.
You sure about that?
That we know of.
Yeah. My lungs are healthy.
That's not what anybody else says.
Yeah, nobody ever suggested my mind was okay.
So I don't know the genesis of this particular note on here, but maybe it's a gimme to the person who prepared them. The Lockwood Gallery in Kingston is hosting an art exhibit and sale of works from instructors at the Woodstock School of Art on Thursday the 23rd, that's tomorrow. 25% of the proceeds go to the Woodstock School of Art, and the Lockwood Gallery is up on Route 28 at 747 Route 28. So if you want to help out the Woodstock School of Art, if you want to get some art for Christmas, the Lockwood Gallery is the place for you to go tomorrow.
Cool.
And that completes the announcements, and as long as these phones stay silent, my staff can coast into the new year doing something other than preparing my notes for KCR.
Well, we would like to get a call
I
or
wouldn't
two.
mind a
So
call. I would
331
mind giving them homework.
331-9255 is our call-in number. We'd love to hear from you if you got anything for our state assemblyman or for any of us. Give us a call, 331-9255.
Legislatively, what we're doing is we're getting ready for the new year. Just yesterday, I put the finishing touches on the annual report, and the annual report is the means by which we convey to the general public all of the activities that the insurance committee has been involved with for the year, and we are also working toward. Hold on one second.
I'm curious how you do that. Do you just share the minutes in one?
No, it's a compiled report, and it's a standard format that each committee uses, but it's actually very informative. I use it to inform myself, because I don't remember what happened in the middle of a committee meeting where I'm herding cats, and, when I go back over it, I said, oh, yeah, we did do that. Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's things are in my mind. I don't remember the status of all of them, but it demonstrated that we had in spite of everything else, had a pretty productive year. So that was half of what we did, and we'll talk about the rest of it after we take care of this.
How you wish. We have a caller. Good morning, caller. You're on the air with Kingston Community Radio.
You asked for it, you got it. Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing, everybody?
Good, George. Good morning.
Yeah, hey, Kevin, the checks came in the mail on Monday.
There you go. You need anything else, George? You need me to come over and cut the grass before the snow falls or anything?
Yeah, no, I tell you what, though, it took them 7 weeks to get it done.
Yeah.
Three county pay periods.
Yeah. I'm told that the Board of Elections did everything with dispatch. As soon as the opportunity for payroll presented itself, they did it at the earliest moment, and that there was a problem within the entire system that they discovered, largely because of your call, by the way.
Good.
And they were able to fix it. So thank you for that public service.
Yeah, because I heard you earlier and stuff, and all, but hey, it's more in the case for the people who could really use the money, especially just before Christmas, because you had people who worked the 10 days of early voting and Election Day itself, which was long and drawn out. And I tell you what, Election Day was tough this year. It was all the ballots that was on the back of it. There was more lines, was less people voting than in other years that when I've done it.
Yeah, it was a complicated election because of the ballot propositions. It was also, even when the contests are few and far between, people still like to make sure that there's nobody on the ballot that they thought of, and sometimes you think, oh, this is the election year for so and it's not, and other times you walk in there and you remember for the first time that it is the election year for the town supervisor or something. So it did take a little bit longer this year, but I'm glad that the checks went out, and like I said, people people like you who take the time to reach out and don't just stew in their juices. You called up and we were able to reach out ourselves and clarify something that maybe would have resulted in even further delays and maybe skipping over the holidays. So thank you for that. And again, thank you for a lot of other things that you do as well, especially for veterans.
That's a very good point for our listeners and our viewers. Just don't assume that people know of an issue or a problem, because in this case here, if George hadn't called, you would not have been aware of it. The Board of Elections would not have been aware of it. So that phone call prompted action on your part and on the Board of Elections.
There would be no reason I would be aware of it.
Right, exactly.
But so thank you to George for making that so and making the public aware of it. I think, did you hear from the Board of Elections, George?
No, not really. I had to call them yesterday because they messed up on the travel money, but it was a small amount that was missed. But no, what is funny is in the training they gave us, they said 3 to 4 weeks you should be paid because everything is being done now electronically. And here it goes. It stretched out almost a full 7 weeks before they got the checks to the people. And a lot of the people really counted on that money and stuff, especially to do Christmas shopping and stuff, and for it to get here so close to Christmas didn't help them much at all. And there's a lot of people out there that really do need that money as soon as they can get it in their hands. So if they could find a way to be able to pay those people sooner, it would be a big help to everybody around. And hey, it's a tough job, especially Election Day, because you're there from 5:15 in the morning to about 9:30 at night.
Right.
And some of the people you deal with are not exactly pleasant, so to speak. But for the most part, it was a good day, long day and busy day, and I'm looking forward to next year as well. So
it's very interesting that the last 2 election cycles, Election Day has become a moment of catharsis for people. It is the moment that they release their frustrations and tensions over society, and then when the outcome isn't what they want, they declare that it was all a fraud anyway.
Yeah, and the other problem was when you tell people that they had to put a mask on. Oh, a couple of them Like, oh, well, if you don't put it on, you're not going to vote, so here's your choice, put it on.
I witnessed that myself. I witnessed it myself where the mask was an issue. And the protocols that different boards, different polling places used were not uniform, and sometimes they were confusing to voters who came in and hadn't been, exposed to that sort of protocol before, where you go to one desk, you stand someplace, you have to stay by the door, all this other business, and the pen has to go in a box. It was all didn't make a civic duty any more pleasant than it would be. So.
Yeah, but I truly recommend, though, no matter what the problems were, everybody gets out there and vote because, hey, it means so much, especially in our local elections, especially local elections coming up next year. So thank you, gentlemen. Everybody have a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Stuff. You guys will be back on before New Year's, but Kevin, you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and your family. So
thank you very much.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
Thank you, George. Thanks for your call, and Merry Christmas. And with that, we are past the bottom of the hour. It's time for a break.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hi, I'm Ruth Quick from the town of Ulster. I support Kingston Community Radio, and you should too.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Thank you, Lawrence, and welcome back, viewers and listeners who have been with us, those just joining us for this last half hour. Welcome. 331-9255 is our call-in number. We got State Assemblyman Kevin Cahill in the studio, along with Village Mayor Bill Murphy and Town Supervisor Fred Costello.
If I could put an appeal out to the general public to register in with me, with our office, your feelings about the new toll barrier-free entrance to the Rhinecliff Bridge and now the New York State Thruway. I was a little skeptical about it.
I think it's great.
And I will be skeptical about it until I make it through the Mid-Hudson Bridge in Poughkeepsie without having a 20-car pileup. But the Rhinecliff Bridge entrance is just remarkably smooth.
Yes,
it's just
it is.
beautifully smooth. The Thruway entrance is also very interesting. I wonder what we would have done with the Saugerties exit now if we weren't talking about toll booths. Would we have come up with a different configuration rather than having two exits?
Yeah, I think so for sure.
Yeah.
That topic comes up on a regular discussion when we consider that whole interchange, because there's problems there. And one of the side effects, it's been a long-standing conversation about controlling the light, because folks that are coming off the thruway from the southbound lane making a left, we're always challenged to find a gap in traffic and do it safely. And we had a high frequency of accidents there, and the toll booth situation finally created the opportunity to have a light installed.
Yes.
And it's been just
It is
terrifically
remarkably
successful.
different. I've played Dodge car at that intersection
Dangerous
several
spot.
times.
It was a dangerous spot.
I always just went right, went around because it wasn't worth. Yeah.
Always. And I taught my daughter to do the same thing.
It was very hard to tell when you're coming off the thruway. First of all, you're geared up for the 65, 75 miles an hour that the thruway is doing, and you're going out on a municipal road. But it's also because of the nature of Route 32 in that particular area. It's tough to gauge, how fast the cars are going, how close you are to them, whether you can make it out. And then there's that extra half a lane that you have to cross over.
That's the part that made it difficult. The extra half lane, I always thought.
Yeah.
Large trucks that really obstructed your line of sight. You could think you're doing it safely and then be surprised by a car.
Right.
And that happened on a regular basis. So
It's just amazing it took that long to get that light there.
it's a little frustrating that it took as long as it did, but it's such a great thing. And actually, once they made the commitment, technology enabled it to happen more quickly, because there's cameras in the lights that avoided having to put the sensors in the road surface.
Yeah.
And it works. It's great. We've got nothing but positive feedback. The frequency of accidents has gone significantly down, and that's what it's all about, safety.
And that's what I'd like to hear about it. And Rhinecliff Bridge, the George Clinton Bridge, if you will, was always difficult even on a regular day. But when there's an event at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds, when it was heavy shopping at the back in the days when the mall was busy.
Rush hour every night at 5 o'clock, that was always backed up.
Yeah.
I used to go to Cross River for basketball games, and if you didn't time it right, it was
held up
yeah.
for a while.
And then Poughkeepsie, this is the one, they haven't done it yet, but when they do Poughkeepsie, that will be the real test, because you have essentially 7 lanes converging into one to cross over the actual bridge. And I've been there on a Sunday afternoon, which, every weekend I go through these bridges. And I've been there on a Sunday afternoon where I've had a half-hour to 45-minute wait.
Really?
After I go through the toll booth and before you cross the actual bridge. I'm also the person that, I say to myself, it's going to be one lane eventually. I should get in that lane now. Yep. And I get on the far left lane right away. And then I watch car after car after car pass me on the right. And it's like, why am I so stupid?
I always did the far right lane.
Yeah,
for some
you're
reason.
one of the guys that passed me. Yeah.
Probably, but I don't know. It was always, I had to get in that far right lane because I always felt coming out, I'd be in a good position coming out.
Well, they encourage you. The signs say use both lanes, and then you go further down, and then the light is red.
Right. Exactly.
And in my view, if there's a red X, you're not supposed to go through it. You're supposed to have already been merged. But many people think that it's the last place where the cones are up, and they force you into the lane. But I've been, and I'm not kidding about this, and it was all within the last month or so. I've crossed the Mid-Hudson Bridge, the Poughkeepsie Bridge, the Franklin Roosevelt Bridge. It's got many names. We name our bridges multiple times in this community. I've been there where the traffic has been backed up from the actual bridge all the way down to the credit union and beyond in Highland.
Holy cow.
All the way down the ramp, all the way up 9W for about for several hundred feet. I haven't seen it beyond that. Maybe I've been in it and not realized that's what the backup was. But it's just, I think a lot of it is the toll booths. But without the toll booths, if traffic flows even faster, more cars are going to get into that V sooner, and that should be an issue. One of the things they did at Rhinecliff was they had 3 lanes in the past. They had the one lane that was easy pass all the time, and when it was open, most of the time it was open. Then they had one lane that was like a hybrid, and then they had one lane that everybody used as cash all the way to the right. And as long as you stayed away from the right lane, you could eventually make it through, unless you got behind somebody who didn't have an easy pass or had a problem or the gate was acting up, and then the whole thing would back up. What they did is they took away the 3rd lane altogether, and that's now a buffer between the eastbound and the westbound traffic, and only 2 lanes are crossing the bridge, and that seems to, I went through it the other day. It was smooth as silk. Yeah, it works,
for sure. That's ironic. You mentioned that. I had to step out for a minute with the Mid-Hudson Bridge because, as you're coming off that ramp, there's and you're entering that toll plaza. I mean, there's quite a number of lanes, so that means all of that is full. That V, I guess you would call it. Yeah. That means that would mean that is all full and it's backed up all the way around the ramp to the 9W.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of cars. That's
Wow.
hundreds of cars.
What time of day was this? And when was
it was not uncommon on a Sunday afternoon. People whose Waze GPS told them to stay off the thruway because you can't make it down a thruway, so they decided they're going to get off in New Paltz and use the Taconic or some other means to go down. It also, any time during rush hour, because believe it or not, there's still, and even more so in many respects, because if you work for IBM and you're on site, you work in Poughkeepsie, even if you live in Ulster County. If you work in the hospitals over there, which are very popular, and a lot of employees, we're working on that tomorrow. Actually, we're going to be having a meeting with some of the representatives of the employees that are having some problems with them, and we're going to hash through that. But there's thousands and thousands of people who are going back and forth to work, particularly early in the morning and late at night. And for all intents and purposes, the Mid-Hudson Bridge is a 3-lane bridge. It's not a 2-lane bridge or a 4-lane bridge, and they switch out the 2nd lane to go either east or west, depending upon what they perceive as capacity. Unfortunately, sometimes there's capacity both ways, and that's when it jams up. And they can't ever let it back up into the city of Poughkeepsie. That would be calamitous. It would be dangerous to the people that live there. There is no plaza to back up traffic. The traffic winds up literally on Main Street.
Streets, yeah. That interchange is a little bit challenging too. Even if you're using the bridge and you get off to go on 9 South, that merge thing is a little bit.
Yeah. Either way, if you're going 9 South or 9 North, I mean, just even if you're going 9 North, when you get off the bridge and you have to make the right, and then you go to that part where it's basically a left on-ramp. Mm-hmm. And if you need to go 9 North, you have to get on and off immediately and make a loop and go up and then do the same thing on the other side. And, I think it's cost me years of my life.
And if you have to get to Main Street or the train station, you got to cross those lines because you're coming in on the left, going off on the right. But I don't do that. I
go through town.
I just go straight, and I think it's easier. I think it's quicker. It's the same way getting back onto, if you're coming from the train station.
Yeah, merging on 9 South's the worst. And if you don't have a passenger in the car that can actually look back and see what's coming, it's a crapshoot. It's a timing, how fast these cars coming too, right?
One of the things, we talk about limitations as we age and limitations for our health. We all start out with about 270-degree vision. We start being able to see us wiggle our fingers next to our head, but little by little we lose that, and your fingers get closer and closer before you can actually see them. But the other thing that has changed is my ability to turn my neck.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And I go like this. My whole body has to turn to actually deal with it. But the fact of the matter is that I had developed a friendship. I will call it a friendship because I commuted every single day for many, many years with the toll collectors, and I thought they were terrific people, and it was a bright part of my day. One time they helped me actually apprehend a person who hit and run on the Kingston traffic circle. I got in trouble for it because I drove very fast to catch up to the guy. But I was certain he had gotten off at Saugerties, and there was a toll guy there. If I said his name, you would remember.
Yes, when we're off air.
And and he said, "Hey, Kevin, were you looking for the guy that got off here and barreled back onto?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "He's all the way up the Catskill. You're going to have to hurry to catch him." and by the time I got him, he had been pulled over already. And the trooper, he gave me 30 seconds to berate the person, and then he sent me on my way because he said, "If you stay here, I'm going to give you a ticket because there's no way you got here without speeding." And all I said to the guy was, I could have had a kid in the car. That's all I said to him. You know, he rear-ended me. No significant damage to the car, but it was a real jolt. And if there was somebody else in the car, they could have gotten hurt. Or if I was doing my usual drinking coffee, shaving, eating, and reading the paper. No.
All at the same time?
While getting on the traffic circle.
Sure, yeah.
Definitely would have ruined my shirt.
Today they would call that road rage.
Yeah, making that up. I was road upset. I wouldn't call it rage by any stretch. I maybe drove like a maniac, but my sense was I couldn't help but think if there was somebody else in the car, you know. And the guy kind of hit me and then, you know, it looked like he was looking for his license and registration. And I get out of my car, and as soon as I had that door open, he goes right on the throughway and gone. So, but the toll booth collectors, they've always had a warm spot in my heart, because when I was a kid, I hitchhiked, and they were the last people I saw before I set out on an adventure, and they would look at me like, "What are you doing? You think you're going to get picked up with that long hair?" And also my predecessor in the assembly was a toll collector before while he was going to college, and then he went on and became our assemblyman and then our congressman. And so we would often have conversations about Maurice's experience as a toll collector, and he thought it was an important part of humanity too. We've lost it. It's over. The technology has taken over, which, by the way, and I'll move on from the toll discussion, Ulster County figures prominently in the modernization of tolls. We have two companies here that have been responsible for building toll booths and then ultimately automating tolls. One is in Accord and one is in Gardner. And
really?
They have been absolutely central to the development. The one in Accord developed these toll systems 20 years ago, and they were using them all over the world where private toll systems were used. And now they've been an integral part of the development of this. And in the other instance, the company had been involved with the building of toll booths, and now they're involved with building the big giant barriers, the towers that hold the sensors. So, yeah, we're in the middle of it. Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
And by the way, the throughway would not exist but for Ulster County, because it was a product of the nature and the location of it was a product of our former state senator, Arthur Wicks. He was instrumental, which is why we have so many exits, why we have so many rest areas.
Appreciated.
Yeah.
I don't know that appreciate it at the moment, but it's certainly appreciated. That's one of the things I always, that's a novelty that happened here in the Hudson Valley, but Bill and I both just celebrated the reopening of the Orpheum, and I had the opportunity to go there for Tom Thornton Day, and to hear the folks who celebrated the history of the theater and talk about the cameras were developed in the Hudson Valley. The whole Hollywood film industry was developed in the Hudson Valley before it became Hollywood. All of it happened here before it happened anywhere else in the world. And, some of the premier companies that became the staples of the industry all began, if not the Hudson Valley, certainly New York. Yeah. And it's a really good tale. And that's true of a lot of industries.
I have lived here my entire life, and I first set foot in the Orpheum Theater less than a month ago.
Really?
That was the very first time I was ever in there.
I'm surprised.
Well, during my formative years, I didn't really take those movies very seriously, the ones that used to be playing there.
Yeah. That's a rite of passage when you're a teenager.
Yeah. Not maybe when you were a teenager. I had a girlfriend who didn't really care for us to do that sort of thing. But it was the first time, and I loved the Tinker Street Theater, which was operated by Upstate Films, and I understand it had its limitations. And I am mold averse beyond allergies. Like, we've had people test our office for mold, and they say it doesn't exist. I said, use me. I can walk in, and as soon as my eyes start to burn,
my wife's the same way.
And unfortunately, the old Tinker Street Theater had a little bit of that going on too. This is a real theater, and it was a pleasure to go see a movie there.
They did a great job renovating and kept the old look, preserving it. And
they still have their mask plus vax card rule.
You don't know.
I don't know
We
either.
had to have a mask on, and we had to show a vaccination card, which we had to go scramble to find. I mean, fortunately, because we had just traveled,
Yeah.
I was able to find it electronically. I certainly didn't have it with me.
It's just nice to drive through at night and see the marquee lit up every night again. It was so Disney.
What's playing?
I know that one movie, Licorice, is coming. What's it called?
Licorice Pizza?
That's coming Christmas Day.
Okay.
This is currently.
Oh, I want to go see
there,
that.
yep.
That's on my list.
Yeah, they're really doing.
I saw French Dispatch, which if you give me any movie that Wes Anderson made, I could just sit there and I start smiling when it goes on, and I don't stop until the movie ends, even for some of the weird stuff that goes on there. Wes Anderson, I don't know if anybody is familiar with his work, but his movies are a series of frames. They're pictures. You know, every scene could be framed and put on your mantle. You know, a hotel lobby, if it's perfectly symmetrical with the stairs going up, or a city scene, he knows exactly what's in that scene, right on down to the dog that's sitting on the bus stop bench. Everything about his movies are terrific, and speaking of, he had Isle of Dogs, which was an animated movie and also terrific. But French Dispatch was particularly good. It brings back the whole cast of characters, many of whom are local in Wes Anderson films. And here's what was really, really cool about going to the Orpheum. Before the movie began, Wes Anderson came on the screen. And he said, "Welcome back to the Orpheum Theater in
really?
Saugerties."
Oh, cool.
The director came on and welcomed us to the movie.
That's
That is pretty cool.
I was like, this has never happened before. That would be like we're going to the Mayfair and Stanley Cooper coming on and say, "You're going to really love 2001," you know?
The night I went for the soft opening, I chose a silent film, and they had the piano player on the stage playing the live piano, and it was just so neat. I'd never seen a silent film.
Yeah,
you were there too, right?
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, Jen and I were.
And it makes you pay attention because you have to pay attention to what's, It was neat.
Pretty cool.
I think diversity they're going to bring there is going to be great.
Me too. We've already seen evidence of that. You know, it was open for the holiday in the village. They were showing Christmas movies all day, and people were just in and out.
Let me tell you,
And kept the prices right.
Yeah,
the price is good, especially if you're a member. The price is really good. But here's what else happened. I was mistaken about the time the movie started. I'm going to say, I'm sorry, I told my staff to shh. That's my staff checking in 5 minutes early for work. Usually they do it at 9 o'clock. We thought the movie was at, I'm going to say 1:15 or 1:45, and it turned out it was 1:15. We got there, we thought, with plenty of time to go get something to eat and go, leisurely walk around the village for a few minutes and then go to the theater. We were off by a half hour. So we still went to the Dutch and we wolfed down our pastrami, and we got there in time with greasy fingers from the pastrami sandwich. It's a good day out. But that's the other part of having a movie theater that's active and is attracting a great audience. Your restaurants will absolutely benefit by it.
It's more than likely either before or after. You're going to go and you're going to go have dinner.
Right, and people will discover the variety of food that's available within a few steps of the theater. Whether it's a hot wiener, which I would have gone for, but my significant other says, when your next date.
And that reminds me of a really quick, good story about the Orpheum going back. This is 1999, but I was in Maribella's one day after work at IBM, and all of a sudden this big giant of a guy walks into the restaurant, and the owner goes to me, "Murph, who is that guy?" And I'm looking, I go, "That's Phil Jackson."
Phil Jackson was living in Woodstock at the time. Yeah.
And he goes, "No way." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, I went down and introduced myself to him, and I wasn't mayor or anything at the time, and introduced him to the owner, and I got talking to him. We did a shot of Zambuca, and said, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, Oh, I love coming to the Saugerties. I eat, I go for pizza and go to a movie. I go, you going to the Orpheum? He's like, yeah. I called my wife. I said, we're going to the Orpheum for a movie. I was just newlywed at the time. And
I don't know whether, I think he was living in a house, but he also was spending a lot of time at the Tibetan monastery.
And that was right before he went to L.A. because the funny thing is, we're sitting there, and he engaged us for like a half hour. I got pictures at home we took with him. He had the big fedora on. His hands are just humongous. And ESPN comes on and goes, Phil Jackson was sighted in L.A. today negotiating to come coach the Lakers. He looked at me and goes, it looks like I'm in L.A. But a month later, he ended up signing with the Lakers, and obviously, but it was so neat. He's like, yeah, we come to the Orpheum all the time.
People don't realize that some of these sports figures that we see on television are a different person, different animal altogether. I had one time dinner with a baseball player that a lot of people know. I unfortunately don't know a lot about baseball, so he was kind of like, "Are you sure you're from this planet?" But it was my name, Johnny Bench. And this guy's hands were the size of my head. He could take my whole head and just wrap his fingers around and touch my eyebrows and touch the base of my brain and my neck at the same time. And he let me wear his World Series ring. Oh, wow. And I put it on, and I could have put another finger in it.
Could have been an ankle bracelet for you, probably.
So anyway, I won't see anybody for the rest of the year. Have a happy New Year. I think 2022 is going to be a great year. I think we're going to see.
I hope you're right.
I think we're going to see the virus really. I think as bad as Omicron is, I think it's spreading it and being less. Making people less sick. It might be exactly what we need to start to put this in the rearview mirror. But in the meantime, I would just urge everybody over the holidays, take precautions. Yes. I mean, I'm going to miss my grandson on, I ratted him out, on Christmas Eve. But it's better that he be isolated and I hope that everybody stays healthy and safe. And
yes.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
And with that, listeners and viewers, thank you for joining us once again. Thank you, Fred Costello. Thank you, Bill Murphy. Thank you, Lawrence. And thank you, listeners and viewers. Wishing everybody a very, very Merry Christmas. And we'll be right back here next Wednesday, same time, same place.
All right. Take care. Thanks, guys.